Good morning, it's Joyful Hermit. Well, I've been up all night, so I'm not as well as what I thought. There had been another problem. I've been eating these soups and fixing them, and of course it hurts my back to stand to cook, but at least I was up out of bed more, and I was feeling very hopeful that I was building energy and feeling better. And I'd been eating for a couple of weeks or more soups, mostly healthy soups that have kidney diet food in them. But my intestines aren't working. And so this is the second time. So I don't know if it's the arachnoiditis. Probably, because eventually your intestines stop working. And it becomes very, very, you can imagine, very painful ordeal. What goes in has to come out. In other words, won't get too more graphic, but get all distended, and it's very, very painful. So I don't know. I'm just going to have some green tea today. Sugar and honey aren't for kidneys, but I did decide, I just sensed that like a quarter teaspoon of honey in this big mug of green tea, it just seemed like it was going to soothe my intestines. So I put a quarter teaspoon in, and then I'd gotten an email from Father Vincent in Nigeria. He thanks everyone for the prayers. Today, well, it was during the night, so it's probably afternoon there now, later afternoon or mid-afternoon in Nigeria right now, depending on where you are. I suppose East Coast it would be even coming on evening, maybe 5 in the afternoon, or 6. But he says he's doing much better. Thanks for the prayers, everyone. And he was going to get up and go out and start working on his old car to try to fix the air conditioner and I think he said carburetor. He's got this old car that he has for utilization. I am getting some money to send to a priest here in Arkansas who's in his community of the Holy Spirit and stationed over here, who can get him money. I'm not waiting until I'm more dead. More dead, but you know what I mean. I'm not going to worry about my finances when it comes to him. He needs some financial help. And it'd be great if he could get a car that's more operable. But bless his heart, I never realized just how multi-talented also, that he can work on his own cars, and we don't grasp living like that, or some of you do. I don't. I was one of 3 daughters, and my dad was the protector and the provider, and we didn't know anything about really until I became married, and I had to do a lot of that myself, handle the finances, and find car people to work on, or as a couple I would find friends. And then one's husband was a car mechanic, and that's how we had someone to work on our vehicles. And it's only 10 years, and then I was doing it all solo for the next 39 years. It's been 39 and a half. So but I don't begin to know how to. At a certain point, when I was so broke, I wanted to learn how to change my own oil, which wouldn't have been so hard, people told me. But it was just one more thing. And then there was this wonderful man in my hometown, a Catholic man. I call him St. Gregory the Great. You've got it. His name's Gregory. And he's got a lovely wife and a child, and well, he's grown man now, the son is, but he's grandparent now. But he tried, when I was in that community of hermits for a few months, wore the habit for about 4 months, He said, I always give discounts to the religious and to the religious sisters. And he says, you count, you count. And I said, no, no, no. See, that was another thing about looking like a hermit or a religious. I did not want favoritism. That goes against, for me, it did, of being on my own and God was providing through him, but I was not destitute then. I had moved to a crummier house, got the lowered house payment, and was making it. And then when my mother passed, then I had that modest inheritance along with my sisters to share. And but then I got out of that habit quickly. But the garment. And so that I could be a hidden hermit more. But anyway, what a wonderful man he was, and so good. And he even bought my car when I needed to move, bought it from me, and resold it, but he didn't make money on it. We just run into some of the most wonderful people in our lives who handle things for us, give us a gift, a break. So I didn't have to learn to change my own oil, and which would have been fine, but it was, like I said, just one more thing when I had to handle a lot of other stuff, which we do when we have an abode to live in. So God bless these wonderful people, and God bless Father Vincent for his abilities that he's had to learn growing up in Nigeria. And his family was not an impoverished family, but they aren't probably near like what our families are. And his mother and father are now deceased. He so wants to build a chapel at the home little compound they have in the village. And he thinks it would be about $5,000. So I want to try. I said, I can't do all of that at once, but I will send and then save it up. And I said, I have more than that in my will for him if I should die suddenly. But I thought, no, I'm going to go in trust in God and try to start sending more, especially now that I have a family member willing to, who would like to buy my house. And that eases up my concerns but the family member, and I don't blame the family member, doesn't want to live here, used to like dogs, but she's got a lot of stress in her career. Her job is also high pressure and lots of hours. And Lovey is a bundle of energy, and he's pacing right now. And that she doesn't really want to live with dogs. They're hypoallergenic. I said, well, we could stay upstairs, but she's not at that point. But I don't know. It's getting to the point with me that I really need simplification. And I've already gotten it by just ignoring my surroundings and not paying much attention. But last night hit like just agony. And I realized I am not well. I am not, something's not right still with my intestines. And I'll call the GI people on Monday, but that specialist says he doesn't know about arachnoiditis. I might call and inquire of a GI specialist more down in the city, and who I've heard of, who's the head of gastrointestinal for this whole hospital system, and inquire of his nurse or whoever if he has any awareness of arachnoiditis or experience with it. It would be best if I found someone like that, because this other doctor has admitted he doesn't know. He's heard of it, but he doesn't know anything about it. So, and I think that's probably what I'm dealing with. But Father Vincent had word of advice for me in his email. At the time I had last written to him, and he had a chance to read the emails, was when I thought one of the family members wanted nothing to do with me, and that was, of course, the wrong message. But he said, and it's good advice regardless, He said, the thinking about negative things that wound the feelings can be worse suffering and worse damage to our healing than the physical damage. So he said, don't think of those things. Put those out of your mind, and remember that, we are, if relatives or whatever, that we are relatives. They can't change that reality. And of course, then I found out, so I have to write back to him and explain that that wasn't the case. It was having to do with my temporal abode, that my eldest was not at all concerned about wanting anything of that, anything to do with any of this, that she was concerned about my welfare, my health. But she's not here either to deal with that. And had I made a choice to stay more in the Midwest, then they would have very much stepped up. But they had the son-in-law's mother became ill and had to take care of her for a few years. So it all works out, but this isn't terminal. It's just something I'm going to have to deal with, and I don't know if I got much nutrition out of what I've been eating. It seems maybe not, but ultimately, I believe God is saying, trust ultimately in me. Don't be very concerned about these things. So I'll sip on the green tea with a 1/4 teaspoon of honey in it. And later on today, might try some soupy cream of rice. I'll see if I should even do that. When I get this, I have a heat pad on. Get everything simmered and healed, a little more healed. But I'm not out of the doghouse yet, and practicing dispassion, which I still want to read that section from John Climacus's book, Ladder of the Divine Ascent. I'll do that later. But thank you for your prayers for Father Vincent. I, of course, have no information on little Leo, but I hope to on February 5th when I get more lab work done. Well, the dogs are getting excited seeing some people outside way across the common area. So I'm so blessed to have this beautiful view, and one of the first things here I did was get windows all across the view area of this home for whoever has it next, because it has a lovely view out the back. There's a pond out there. I'm going to call it Lake Immaculata. That's what I called the pond in the other little subdivision house I had, where I had to leave because of the crazy neighbors. But it's lovely, and I worked on this house, and I will continue, if I can, do some work today. I'm hoping to hang some drywall. We'll see. Set the goals. Move on. And but I always try to do this house for Jesus and for whoever Jesus chooses to live in here next. And it may be the family member, so that would be lovely. God bless His real presence in us, and I've had a couple of beasties join me up here. So saying God bless His real presence in us, and let's keep loving. There's Lovey's head and mouth. Loving as God loves, striving to love God in Himself.